Congressmen lay out ways to defend besieged Christians in the Middle East. The U.S. State Department said ISIS committed genocide against Christians and other religious minorities. That was in March. But what comes now? Capitol Hill reporter Jason Calvi joins us with that answer. Jason.
Lauren, several new bills to answer that question. Representative Chris Smith in New Jersey introducing one today that would make it easier for the victims of genocide to come to the United States. They wouldn't need what's usual, a recommendation or a referral from the UN or a non-government organization. This is just one of the issues that lawmakers brought up today in a gathering of the In Defense of Christians National Convention taking place right here in Washington, D.C. And we asked some of the lawmakers what they can do right now to protect persecuted Christians.
If we go and take out ISIS, what fills that vacuum? What government is put in place? How do we structure that? And then how do we create these safe areas using military to protect Christians, protect other minority groups? That has to be a part of the conversation.
Using the U.S. military to protect those Christians in the Middle East?
Yeah, they have to be part of the coalition.
We need far more bombing raids, and we need rules of engagement that say if you see a tanker truck carrying ISIS oil, you bomb it. Our current rules of engagement, as of the last time I was briefed, is that if you think the driver might be a civilian, you don't bomb it. That is absurd. Those are not the rules we had during World War II.
Trying to figure out a way to maybe provide a special lane to help get Christians and Jews out of the Middle East. Also trying to figure out what the Middle East will look like after ISIS is defeated. Will the Christians, Jews, other religious minorities be allowed to return to their homes? How will that be funded?
And that question is all the more pressing tonight. The head of the Defense Intelligence Agency saying that the battle for Iraq's second largest city, Mosul, is about 2 to 3 months away. The ISIS right now claims that city. It is the former home of many Christians who ISIS kicked out. Lauren?
Jason Calvi on Capitol Hill. Thank you, Jason. People from all walks of faith gathered last night to pray for an end to the genocide of Middle Eastern Christians. That includes Pope Francis's U.S. representative here in the U.S., who called for Christian unity. Wyatt Goolsby reports.
Catholic, Protestant, Orthodox, Assyrian, Armenian. Christian leaders gathered in our nation's capital in a solemn ecumenical prayer service last night. Each clergy member carrying a candle representing the men, women, and children who have died at the hands of ISIS.
With His grace. Amen.
Archbishop Christophe Pierre led the service in one of his first public celebrations since being appointed in April as the Pope's U.S. representative. He says coming together in prayer is critical.
Prayer helps us to live a kind of conversion and to look at the other as a brother instead of an enemy.
المجد لك يا سيدنا وملكنا المسيح.
In a sign of unity, prayers were offered in multiple languages, like Greek and Arabic. The violence in the Middle East hits home for Armenian Apostolic Archbishop Oshagan Choloyan, who was born in Aleppo, Syria. He compares the current violence to the Armenian genocide of the early 20th century.
We survived. We survived because we believed in ever-living Lord. And God lives, we live.
In honor of today's Feast of the Nativity of the Virgin Mary, religious leaders called for the Blessed Mother's intercession. Canon Alistair MacDonald Radcliffe, an Anglican priest, has worked for years on interfaith dialogue.
Gatherings like this are important, but they also reflect, I think, continuing difficulties because of our commitment to truth, things that we each want to maintain.
But he says this is a step in the right direction. Archbishop Pierre agrees.
We know that the problems are many. The solutions comes from the dialogue, from the dialogue between persons, between communities.
And it's that dialogue, inspired by Christ, that gives him hope. In Washington, Wyatt Goolsby, EWTN News Nightly.